Hello, this is my presentation on how social activities are affected by urban greening in parts of London. It can be projected that cities will host 75% of the world's population by 2050, but currently cities are described as very inefficient and very energy intensive, with very weak ecological connections. So urban greening can be seen as a very important step towards climate change mitigation and towards making our cities more sustainable for the future. So the plan is to conduct surveys in London's parks and urban green spaces like around cafes, bars or shopping centres. The data we collect can hopefully tell us more about the non-use and the monetary value of London's green spaces. So the point is to see how much do people value the green space for social activities or for business or for other activities, but it's also to see how indispensable the green space is for the people. Like, could they find an alternative place for their activities, or would they just simply change their activities if the green space didn't exist? We will conduct survey research in parks away from urban areas to try to determine the non-use value. So in part A of the survey, we try to attain information regarding to people's postcode and their age to try and get a good sphere of influence and to see the catchment area of the park. We also try to see what activities people are doing and if they can conduct these activities in a place other than the park. If so, and have they? Urban greening has been extensively discussed to varying degrees of scientific analysis. So my first reading was Urban Greening, Environmentalism or Marketable Aesthetics, which focused on the benefits of the aesthetics, linking to Folcott's regime of truth with urban greening, echoing the Times prosperity, and linking to the Times self-interest, being like a signature of this period in time. I quite like this reading. It was good. It had a lot of ideological theories and it was very theoretical, so it was good for different concepts and also for the limitations of urban greening. Second reading was Urban Greening Cools Towns, Cities, an asymmetric review of empirical evidence. So this was quite a scientific reading which used meta-analysis to synthesize data which focused on measuring the temperatures around trees. So it provided quite a scientific proof of how urban greening works and the benefits. So it was quite uncontestable data which provided me with some good direction. My next reading was City Trees, Urban Greening Needs More Data. This was quite conflicting to the last reading because it notes that previous experiments lacked substance and they were misguided as they have a lack of depth. Previous experiments were inconsistent and needed strengthening, noting that the correct experiments were done in the wrong place, and to think if they were to come under much more scrutinous conditions, we might see much more satisfying results. Similarly to the last reading, this reading, Sustainable Urban Greening Strategies for Compact Cities in Developed and Developing Countries, focused on how urban greening programs and implementation strategies were implemented on inadequate data and showed that with better models and better data we could implement much better strategies and receive much better results. The budget from which the grant applications can come is part of, I think, an overly ambitious plan to make London the world's first national park city. But it's perfect for our project to piggyback on the back of this to try to achieve a similar goal, but not that exact goal. I think this is the best grant for the project for this reason, because the project already has so much traction and the grant will consider things like travel, insurance, wages, hire of any equipment, and more importantly, the grant has a budget for a council member to assist you with your project, which could be really good.